How to create XRF Plot in Origin. Whether you need good help, a genius writer, a brainy tutor, or a data wizard, Intuito for you has them all. It's like having a research dream team on demand.
Okay, let's just jump right in. If you're working in materials science or chemistry, really anyone doing elemental analysis, you already know the deal. You've got this spreadsheet, it's packed with raw numbers, and now you have to turn it into a powerful, professional-looking XRF plot in Origin. So let's get it done. So can you really turn that raw data into a polished journal quality graph in just a few minutes? It might sound like a bit of a stretch, but believe me, the answer is a big yes. You absolutely can. And in this explainer, we're going to walk through exactly how to do it. And we're not just going to talk about it, we're actually going to build one right here together, step by step. By the time we're finished, you'll have a super clear, repeatable process to make your own research look sharp and totally ready to share with the world. All right, first things first, let's talk about going from data to discovery. Before we even think about opening the software, we've got to understand our goal here. A really great plot, it doesn't just show data, it reveals the discovery that's hiding inside of it. So what are we actually looking at with XRF data? Well, simply put, it's a data set that maps energy to intensity. You can think of it like this. The energy level on the x-axis tells you what element you might be looking at, and the intensity, that's your y-axis, it gives you a clue about how much of it is there. Our job is to visualize this whole thing to figure out what a material is made of. So this right here, this is our main mission. We want to transform that boring list of numbers into a clear visual story. We're trying to create a plot that lets anyone, your colleague, your professor, even a journal reviewer, look at it and instantly get the science. That's where the real power is. Okay, time to get our hands dirty. The very first step is getting our data into Origin. This is the foundation for, well, everything else we're about to do. And the process is actually really simple. We'll pop open a new workbook, head up to File, then Import. That single ASCII option is almost always the one you want because it's made for the standard text or CSV files that your instrument spit out. Once you pick your file, just give it a quick glance. Make sure Origin figured out that column 1 is your x-axis, energy, and column 2 is your y-axis, intensity. All right, our data is in. Now for the fun part, actually creating the plot. With everything loaded up, we are literally just a couple of clicks away from seeing our XRF spectrum come to life. And it's so fast, you'll love it. All you do is highlight your 2 columns of data, go up to that plot menu, and choose Line. Boom. Instantly, Origin draws your basic plot. And just like that, you've turned a boring table of numbers into an actual visual shape. So now you've got a bit of a strategic choice to make. A simple line plot? That's perfect for a clean look, especially when you have a ton of data points. It really shows the overall trend. But what if you want to show the specific data points that make up that curve? Maybe you have fewer points or you want to emphasize the precision. Well then, line plus symbol can be way more powerful. It really all comes down to the story you want your data to tell. Okay, this is where the magic happens. This is how we take a quick and dirty draft and turn it into a professional figure. The basic plot does its job, sure, but the formatting, that's what gives it real clarity, impact, and that polished finish. So let's get to it. We're going to take this raw output and basically sculpt it into something that you'd be genuinely proud to put in a publication. Here's our game plan. We'll start with making things super clear, labeling our axes with their units, and making that line a bit bolder and easier to see. Then comes the most critical part for your analysis, marking the key elemental peaks, like the iron or copper K-alpha lines, so your audience knows exactly what they're looking at. Finally, we'll bump up the font sizes for readability and add a clear legend. Every single step here is about making the story in your data absolutely impossible to misunderstand. And here's a huge pro tip if you're aiming for publication. Less is more. Seriously. Journals want clarity above everything else. Things like busy grid lines or fancy backgrounds can actually get in the way of the data. When you get rid of them, the data becomes the absolute star of the show. A clean, simple plot just screams confident. And that's what we were aiming for. By just methodically going through those formatting steps, we have created a plot that is exactly what it needs to be. It's clear, it's attractive, and most importantly, it tells a really compelling and totally unambiguous scientific story. So our plot looks amazing on the screen, but now we need to get it out of Origin and ready for the real world. This final step, exporting it the right way, is crucial. So to wrap this up, just navigate to File, then Export Graphs. Now your 2 most important choices here are the format and the resolution. A format like TIFF is fantastic because it's lossless, which just means you don't lose any quality. And for resolution, 300 dpi, that's dots per inch, is the absolute gold standard. Why? Because it guarantees that when your plot gets printed in a journal, it's going to be crisp and sharp, not all blurry and pixelated. And hey, give it a descriptive name. Trust me, your future self will thank you.
And there you have it. That's the whole process. In just a few minutes, you've gone all the way from a raw data file to a polished, publication-ready figure. It's something that is both scientifically spot on and, let's be honest, visually impressive.
So your plot is done. It's ready to go. The only question left is, well, it's the most exciting one of all. Now that you have this powerful way to visualize your work, what new story is your research going to tell?
And subscribe now for more amazing videos just like that. Thanks for watching.